Every morning, when the sun began to peek through the curtains, a cheerful golden retriever named Max would jump out of his cozy dog bed. Max had soft, fluffy fur that shimmered in the sunlight and a wagging tail that seemed to have a mind of its own. He was not just any dog. He was a beloved member of the Johnson family. Max loved playing fetch in the backyard and going on long walks with his owner, Jamie. But there was one thing that puzzled everyone in the house: his curious habit of sitting by the front door every morning. If you enjoy this video, please like the video and subscribe for more, and tell me where you are watching from today. I always find it awesome to see where all my viewers are watching from. Let's get back to the video. As soon as Max woke up, he would trot over to the door, plop down right in front of it, and stare intently at the doorknob as if he was waiting for something exciting to happen. Jamie's parents would often chuckle at his routine. "Look at Max," they would say. "He's ready for an adventure." Little did they know that they were about to embark on a much bigger mystery. The rest of the family watched Max with amused curiosity. Jamie's little sister, Lily, thought it was adorable and would often join him by the door, making silly faces and talking to him about her day ahead. "Maybe he thinks someone is coming to play with him," she giggled, scratching behind his ears. Max would respond with happy little barks and an excited wag of his tail. But he never moved from his spot. Each day passed with the same routine. While Jamie and her family went about their morning activities, making breakfast, getting dressed, and rushing out the door, Max remained patiently seated at his post. Sometimes, he would let out a soft whine as if he wanted to say something important. However, no one could figure out what was on his mind or why he sat there so faithfully. One sunny Saturday morning, while enjoying pancakes together at the kitchen table, Jamie came up with an idea. "What if we find out why Max sits by the door every day?" she suggested eagerly. The family exchanged glances, filled with both intrigue and laughter. Jamie's dad raised an eyebrow playfully. "You mean we should spy on our dog?" The room erupted in giggles as Lily chimed in. "Let's set up a camera. It'll be like a top-secret mission." With excitement buzzing in the air, they quickly found an old camera and set it up near the door where Max usually sat. The family made sure it had a clear view and left it running while they went about their usual Saturday activities. They could hardly wait to see what secrets it might reveal about their furry friend. As evening approached and day turned into night, they gathered around to review the footage from earlier that day. A mix of excitement and anticipation filled their hearts as they hit play. What could possibly explain Max's strange behavior? Little did they know that watching this footage would change everything they thought they knew about their loyal companion. In those moments before hitting play, no one could imagine how wonderful or surprising the explanation would be for why Max always sat by the door every morning. As the days turned into weeks, Max's habit of sitting by the door became an amusing spectacle for the Johnson family. Each morning, Jamie, Lily, and their parents would catch glimpses of him waiting patiently, his big brown eyes glued to the door like it held the secrets of the universe. They shared chuckles and guesses at breakfast about what might be so fascinating about that spot. "Maybe he's expecting a surprise visitor," Jamie's mom joked one day, pouring maple syrup over pancakes. "Or maybe he thinks it's time for a walk every hour," laughed Lily, her eyes wide with imagination. Each theory was more delightful than the last, but as amusing as it felt, they couldn't deny that there was something unusual about Max's routine. Despite the laughter, a little confusion lingered in the air. During busy mornings, when everyone rushed to get ready for school and work, Max remained glued to his position. Often Jamie would call him over to play or join her in the kitchen, but he would just wag his tail and look back at the door as if something important awaited him outside. Sometimes he even let out a soft whimper that tugged at Jamie's heart. What could he be waiting for? Jamie wondered aloud one morning after watching Max stare intently at the doorknob. It was puzzling how dedicated Max was to this routine, always appearing so hopeful and excited. The family began to form their own theories, trying to figure out what enchanted their dog so much. One evening after dinner, while sitting on the couch together as a family, Jamie brought up her idea again. "He sits there every day. We have to find out what he's looking for," she insisted. Her father chuckled as he scratched his head. What if it's nothing? Maybe he just likes hanging out there because he can see so much. Or maybe it's a secret superhero mission, Lily exclaimed dramatically, flapping her arms. Everyone laughed, but deep down, they all felt a little intrigued and perplexed. As days passed into weeks without any answer, the family became increasingly curious. They started to notice small details, how Max's ears pricked up at certain sounds, or how he would tilt his head as if listening hard for something just beyond the door. Once, Jamie swore she saw him wagging his tail at nothing more than the passing breeze. It wasn't that Max had a lack of love or attention. He thrived on playtime and cuddles with his family. Still, nothing seemed quite enough to distract him from his morning vigil. Their home was filled with laughter and fun activities. Yet the curious presence of Max by the door settled over them like a gentle blanket of mystery. One Saturday afternoon, after observing him once more, with furrowed brows and giggles from Lily, Jamie sighed in realization. "We really need to figure this out. What if he's trying to tell us something?" With that determination in mind, they agreed that conducting an investigation was a must. The family rallied together in excitement. This was no ordinary dog mission. It was something extraordinary waiting to be discovered. That evening, as they prepared for their plan, little did they know that Max's unusual behavior held a surprise far beyond their wildest imaginations. The Johnson family gathered together again one evening, determined to brainstorm ideas about Max's peculiar behavior. They sat in the living room, filled with laughter and energy as they threw around all sorts of fun theories about why their furry friend was so fixated on the front door. "What if he thinks someone is coming to visit us?" Jamie suggested, her eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. "He could be waiting for a surprise guest." "Or maybe he's just really bored," Lily chimed in, glancing at Max, who was still perched by the door. "Maybe he wants to go outside because looking at our house is too dull." "But what if it's something more exciting?" Jamie's dad interjected. "What if he senses a squirrel outside? You know how much he likes to chase those little guys." The room erupted with giggles. Max, hearing the mention of squirrels, looked up with wide eyes and wagged his tail as if approving their guess. "What about treats?" Lily piped up again. "Maybe he thinks we'll open the door and bring him a snack. Dogs love snacks." She flailed her hands excitedly, pretending to throw treats into the air. Everyone laughed, picturing how Max would jump and catch them. Jamie thought for a moment and added another theory. "What if he's waiting for us to play fetch? You know how much he loves it when we throw the ball. Maybe he expects someone to come out and play with him." The family nodded in agreement, each of them imagining Max's joy as he dashed after a ball. As they shared their ideas, the atmosphere became charged with excitement. Each theory seemed more captivating than the last, but deep down, they all felt the weight of curiosity lingering over them. Despite the light-hearted speculation, none of their guesses truly answered the question of why Max was so devoted to his post by the door. One evening after dinner, while watching television, the family could hear Max softly whimpering as he continued to stare out the door. He looks like he's working on a top-secret mission, Jamie exclaimed. Imagine if he were a detective trying to solve a mystery. Maybe there's a missing cat that needs his help. The idea caused everyone to burst into laughter. Yet there lingered a sense of determination to uncover the truth behind Max's dedication. As days went by, they continued to come up with more whimsical ideas. Sometimes they imagined that Max was a superhero waiting for a call to action, or that he was guarding against invisible intruders. Other times they joked that he was daydreaming of grand adventures just beyond the threshold of their home. With every passing day, as they busied themselves with work and school but also watched Max sitting alone, the question remained unanswered. Each family member wanted to believe there was something extraordinary about Max's loyalty to that spot by the door. The bond they all shared with him made it even more puzzling that they could not decipher what had captured his attention so completely. Eventually, it became clear that they needed more than just playful theories. They needed to investigate further. With this in mind, Jamie rallied her family together again as plans were set in motion for their special mission, their secret operation to finally unravel the mystery surrounding Max and his unusual daily routine. The Johnson family's playfully curious discussions about Max's routine quickly turned serious as they contemplated how to figure out what their furry friend was doing every morning. Jamie's heart raced with excitement as she thought about the possibilities. This wasn't just a cute habit. It was a mystery waiting to be solved. She leaned forward, her eyes wide with anticipation, and said, "Why don't we set up a camera? That way we can watch what he does while we're not home." Her suggestion sent sparks of excitement through the room. "That's a brilliant idea," Lily exclaimed, clapping her hands. "We can finally see what he's looking for. It'll be like a dog adventure movie." The thought energized the family, and they quickly began to discuss how they could make it happen. Jamie's dad scratched his head thoughtfully. "We have an old camera in the attic," he said. "I can get that down. It might take a little time to set it up. But if Max is really waiting for something, we'll be ready to catch it on video." Jamie could practically feel the thrill of discovery as she imagined watching the footage together later on. Once they retrieved the camera from the attic and made sure it was working, Jamie and her family set up their operation with care. They placed it strategically in a way that provided a clear view of Max's favorite spot by the door. The anticipation built as they adjusted the camera and checked the angle one more time. "Do you think he'll know we're watching?" Lily asked slyly, trying to bite back giggles. Jamie scoffed playfully. "No way. He won't even know we're spying on him. He'll think this is just another day." The laughter helped diffuse any nerves, as both sisters tried to imagine what they might see through the lens. As they spent the rest of that afternoon focused on their preparations, excitement filled the air, while thoughts swirled around their heads. Jamie couldn't help but wonder if Max would surprise them with something miraculous or quirky that would solve the mystery at last. Each family member had its own thoughts about what tomorrow would bring. Later that evening, after supper had settled and everyone was comfortable on the couch, Jamie reminded them about their plan for the next day. "Okay, here's the deal. We'll set up for breakfast like normal, but while we are getting ready to leave for school and work, we need to make sure Max doesn't see us sneak out." With nods of agreement, they discussed timing everything perfectly so that when morning came, they would be ready to go without disrupting Max's usual spot by the door. The countdown began. Only 8 hours remained until they would finally get answers. Finally nestled in bed that night, Jamie couldn't help but close her eyes with images of Max dancing around in her mind. His wagging tail and eager expression made her smile as she drifted off into sleep. Still unknown to them all were the revelations that awaited when morning came, and their plan unfolded. In no time at all, it would be revealed just what had captured Max's heart and attention so completely each day at his post by the door. Together, with unabashed curiosity and love for their loyal companion driving them forward, they were ready for whatever surprises lay ahead. The following morning arrived with a mix of excitement and nervous energy in the Johnson household. Jamie, Lily, and their parents gathered around the kitchen table for breakfast, eager to start their day. Max bounded around excitedly, completely unaware of the adventures that awaited him. After finishing their meal, the family took care to move quietly around the house. They could hardly contain their energy as they tiptoed past Max, who remained steadfast by the door. "Okay, everyone out," Jamie whispered, holding her breath as they slipped out of the house one by one. The last thing they needed was for Max to notice that they were leaving and possibly abandon his post. Once outside, they all exchanged glances filled with anticipation and giggles, brimming with curiosity about what the camera would reveal. With the front door gently closed behind them, the family set off to their respective activities. School for Jamie and Lily, and work for their parents. As silence filled the house, Max settled back into his familiar spot, oblivious to the day's excitement unfolding just outside. Later that afternoon, once everyone returned home, they gathered in the living room, anxious to review the camera footage. Jamie couldn't sit still. Her heart raced as they prepared to watch what Max had been up to all morning. With a click and a few taps on the remote control, the recording began. At first, the screen showed Max sitting quietly by the door, his gaze fixed intently on the doorknob. The family sat in awe, leaning closer as they watched their loyal companion. Minutes ticked by slowly as they waited for something exciting to happen. Their anticipation grew as they turned to one another with wide eyes. Then suddenly, just as Jamie had hoped, something stirred. A rustling noise came from outside, catching Max's attention like a bolt of lightning. His ears perked up straight, and he began wagging his tail furiously. It was as if every little sound was part of a mysterious symphony crafted just for him. The footage grew even more exhilarating when a faint shadow passed by outside, the mailman. As soon as he stepped onto the porch with a cheerful wave, Max leapt to his feet. He pressed his nose against the glass door, barking excitedly and prancing around like a puppy full of energy. "Oh my gosh, look at him!" Lily squealed as she pointed at the screen. "He's so happy." In that moment of pure joy, Max danced around, tail wagging and paws tapping against the floor as he waited eagerly for the mailman to reach him. When the mailman dropped off the mail in the box and turned to leave, it was clear that Max wasn't ready to let this daily visit slip away so easily. As if on cue, Max lunged toward the door in a flurry of golden fur and paws. He raced back and forth like a wind-up toy trying to get closer. To everyone's delight, he let out a series of playful barks toward his friend, his morning ritual coming alive before their eyes. Finally, after a few moments of animated antics, full of jumps and barks from Max, the mailman waved goodbye and continued on his route. With that farewell over, Max returned to his spot by the door, but this time with a satisfied grin on his face, occasionally tilting his head as if hoping for an encore appearance. The room erupted in laughter and excitement as Jamie paused the video. "He really was just waiting for his friend," she exclaimed. The mystery deepened into something heartwarming as they realized how special this connection was between Max and the mailman. As they basked in this newfound understanding, it became clear that every morning Max wasn't just sitting by the door. He was eagerly anticipating friendship, a simple yet beautiful bond that brought joy not only to him, but also to those who watched him wait. Johnson family felt gratitude wash over them, knowing that they had uncovered more than just a habit. They had revealed a delightful secret of love and loyalty between their dog and his human friend. With newfound clarity, the Johnson family delighted in the understanding that Max was not merely sitting by the door out of boredom or curiosity. He was genuinely waiting for his best friend, the mailman. Over the following days, they became more observant of this special connection as it unfolded right in front of them. Each morning, around the same time, they would watch as Max's ears perked up and his tail wagged vigorously. It was as if he had an internal clock that told him exactly when his friend would arrive. The family decided to make this experience even more enjoyable by joining Max at the door each day, hoping to catch a glimpse of their furry friend's joyful reunion with the mailman. One bright Tuesday morning, Jamie and Lily positioned themselves by the window with wide eyes and excited whispers. "I can't wait to see him," Lily squeaked, bouncing on her toes. Jamie nodded in agreement, her heart warmed by what they had already witnessed. As they stood there, they noticed the familiar sight of a blue mail truck rolling down their street. Max's attention sharpened as he let out an eager bark, instantly alerting everyone in the house to be on high alert. The girls giggled, sharing glances filled with excitement as they knew an epic moment was about to unfold. The mailman parked his truck at the curb and stepped onto their porch with a friendly wave. Time seemed to pause for Max. He bounded up from his spot like he had received a jolt of electricity. His golden fur glistened as he darted toward the screen door, pushing it with his nose and barking happily, eager to greet his special visitor. "Look, he knows it's him," Jamie exclaimed, pointing through the glass door. They couldn't help but smile as they saw Max prancing around with sheer joy. Each movement echoed love and excitement that only true friends could share. The mailman reached into his bag and pulled out a dog biscuit, something that made Max's eyes widen in pure delight. The girls burst into laughter at how quickly he settled down in front of him, like a perfect gentleman ready for a treat. "Here you go, buddy," said the mailman cheerfully as he handed over the biscuit while giving Max a gentle pat on his head. The girls watched intently, their hearts swelling at this beautiful display of friendship. Max wagged his tail furiously as he accepted the biscuit. Each time their friendly visitor arrived, it seemed to brighten both their worlds. Max excitedly looked forward to each encounter just as much as the mailman cherished those moments too. After exchanging pleasantries, the mailman turned to leave, but not without another wave goodbye. Max let out a series of excited barks before stepping back toward the doorway, triumphantly sporting his treat in his mouth. He pranced back inside like a victorious hero returning from an adventure. Once inside again, Max returned to his favorite spot by the door, but now with a happy sigh and a full belly, content after spending precious moments with his friend. The Johnson family gathered around him once more and shared warm conversations about what they'd witnessed that morning. "Who knew our daily mail delivery brought so much happiness?" Jamie mused while scratching behind Max's ears affectionately. From that moment forward, it was clear that every morning wasn't just about waiting. It was about friendship and loyalty that enriched both their lives every time that blue truck rolled into view. They understood now how special such simple moments could be, celebrating not only Max's joy, but also fostering this bond between them all. A reminder that friendship comes in various forms and can be found in unexpected places. As the days turned into weeks, the bond between Max and the mailman blossomed into something truly special. Each morning, as the blue mail truck rumbled down their street, both Max and the mailman seemed to understand that their meeting was no ordinary event. It was a highlight of their day. Max, with his fluffy golden coat and sparkling eyes, would sit eagerly at the door, tail wagging like a pendulum, ready for his friend's arrival. His enthusiasm was infectious. Even on days when the weather was gloomy or rainy, Max's spirit remained bright and hopeful. The Johnson family often chuckled at how he could sense precisely when it was time for the mailman to arrive. It was as if an invisible connection tied them together. When the mail truck pulled up, Max would leap into action. His joyful barks filled the air, an excited symphony that echoed through the house. Meanwhile, the mailman would step out of his vehicle with a smile that radiated warmth. He had come to look forward to these encounters just as much as his furry friend did. Each day, he carried dog biscuits in his bag, little tokens of friendship that were always met with eager anticipation from Max. As soon as the mailman approached the porch, he would call out to Max, "Hey there, buddy." The moment those words reached his ears, Max would sprint toward him with pure glee. Their interactions had become a delightful routine that painted smiles on everyone's faces, including Jamie and Lily, who watched from inside with joy in their hearts. "Sit," the mailman would say playfully, and without hesitation, Max obediently dropped into a sit position, while his eyes sparkled with excitement. It was astonishing how quickly he transformed from a bouncing ball of energy to a well-mannered companion whenever his friend arrived. In exchange for his biscuit treats, Max performed cute little tricks like shaking paws or even twirling in circles, each act bringing laughter and cheer to both the mailman and the girls watching closely. The daily meetup quickly became more than just an exchange of treats. It established a warm friendship rooted in trust and love. Each time they saw each other, they greeted one another like long-lost friends reunited after a long absence. The bond between them deepened over shared moments that celebrated companionship in its simplest form. As summer approached and flowers bloomed around their neighborhood, Jamie and Lily began to notice something remarkable. Not only did Max depend on these visits for joy, but also the mailman seemed uplifted by their encounters. On days when deliveries were heavier or stressful for him, the enthusiastic welcome from Max brought an instant smile to his face. Jamie once overheard the mailman say to her parents while handing over packages one afternoon, "You know, seeing Max every morning makes my job so much better." This declaration made Jamie's heart swell with happiness. It was clear that they both looked forward to these moments of connection. The Johnson family cherished this unique friendship between their dog and the mailman even more, as it became a beautiful reminder of how friendships can blossom unexpectedly. Even across species, each morning turned into a heartfelt celebration of loyalty that brought joy not just to Max, but also to his human friend and everyone who witnessed it. In this small corner of their world, where bonds of friendship flourished against all odds, Jamie often thought about how wonderful it was that something so simple could create such profound happiness. A true testament to love found in everyday moments shared between friends. The Johnson family sat together in the living room, gathered around the television with eager smiles on their faces as they prepared to watch the footage from the camera they had set up. Jamie's heart raced with anticipation, knowing that today would finally reveal the mystery of why Max was so devoted to sitting by the door each morning. As the video began to play, everyone leaned forward, their eyes glued to the screen. At first, they saw Max patiently waiting, his fluffy tail thumping against the floor with excitement. The family exchanged glances filled with curiosity and amusement. "He's so serious," Lily laughed. "What could possibly be so exciting?" Then, suddenly, the moment they had been waiting for arrived. Max's ears perked up as he heard the familiar sound of the mail truck approaching. The entire family erupted into laughter as they watched him leap into action, racing toward the door like a rocket. "Look at him go!" Jamie squealed in delight, her eyes sparkling. When the mailman stepped onto the porch and greeted Max, the family's laughter turned to cheers. They couldn't believe their eyes as they watched Max wagging his tail furiously, his joyous barks filling the air. "Oh my gosh, he actually knows it's him," Lily exclaimed, practically bouncing in her seat with excitement. As the mailman pulled out a dog biscuit from his bag and offered it to Max, Jamie felt a rush of warmth. The sight of Max performing his little tricks for a treat made her heart swell with happiness. "This is so adorable. They're like best friends," she said, grinning from ear to ear. The footage continued, showing Max eagerly accepting the biscuit and then sitting proudly at the door while the mailman waved goodbye and went back to his truck. Jamie paused the video at that moment, and the room filled with a mixture of laughter and awe. The discovery of their dog's special friendship filled them all with joy, a bond that had been quietly growing right under their noses. "I can't believe it. This is why he sits by the door every day," Jamie exclaimed in disbelief. The family exchanged delighted looks, realizing how sweet and simple this relationship was. It wasn't just about treats. It was about companionship and loyalty shared between Max and his human friend. "I love it," Lily added enthusiastically. "Max has a best friend. How cool is that?" The family erupted into more laughter as they began to discuss how they could make this friendship even more special. "We should bake some dog cookies for him to take to the mailman next time," Jamie suggested excitedly. The Johnsons embraced Max's friendship wholeheartedly, recognizing how special it was that their dog had formed such a delightful bond with someone outside their family. They started to appreciate the happiness brought into their home through these simple morning encounters. As they continued chatting about Max and his new friendship, a sense of warmth settled over them. They understood that love and connection could come from unexpected places, even from a daily delivery person. This playful and affectionate relationship made Max's antics even more endearing to them. From that day forward, every time they saw the blue mail truck rolling down their street, it was no longer just a routine delivery. It was a chance for joy and friendship to blossom once again. The Johnson family looked forward to not only watching Max, but also being part of those heartfelt moments that turned an ordinary day into something extraordinary. With laughter still echoing in their home, they embraced Max's friendship with open hearts, welcoming every charming encounter that came with it and cherishing the joy it brought to their lives. As the Johnson family continued to reflect on their discovery about Max and the mailman, they found their understanding of his behavior evolving in beautiful ways. What had once seemed like an odd quirk became a cherished part of Max's personality, deepening their affection for him and bringing them closer as a family. Previously, they viewed Max's habit of sitting by the door as merely an amusing curiosity. Now, they recognized it was much more profound. Each morning, when he awaited the mailman with eager anticipation, it became clear that Max was expressing his loyalty and love for someone who also cared for him. The realization shifted their perspective entirely. No longer was Max just a dog waiting for an arrival. He was a companion eagerly awaiting the friendship that enriched his days. The family began to appreciate not only Max's excitement, but also his unwavering dedication. Jamie watched in delight as her parents shared stories about their own childhood pets, reminiscing about how each animal had its own unique quirks that made them special. They laughed at how different pets express love and joy in various ways, and how special it was that Max had formed this bond with the mailman. Lily chimed in, her eyes sparkling with admiration. "Max is like a superhero waiting for his sidekick to show up. I love how happy he gets." Her innocent enthusiasm reminded everyone of the joy that simple friendships can bring into life. The family began to see Max through new eyes, a joyful creature who brought light and laughter into their home. With this newfound understanding, they started embracing all of Max's quirks with open hearts. His goofy antics, like chasing after his tail or barking at his reflection in the window, now became endearing reminders of his playful spirit. They would gather around him more often, encouraging those silly moments that made them chuckle and bond even further. Inspired by their dog's friendship with the mailman, Jamie suggested they bake some homemade dog treats, not just for Max, but also to share with the mailman. "Let's make something special for him. He's such a good friend to Max." The idea filled the entire household with excitement as they planned a baking day, complete with wagging tails and flour-covered counters. On baking day, as flour flew and laughter echoed through the kitchen, Max watched curiously from the doorway, tail wagging at the sight of his family bustling around. The girls took turns mixing ingredients while explaining each step to Max as if he could understand every word. The warm scent of peanut butter cookies filled the air, and soon enough, they had a batch ready for their furry friend to try. When they finally packaged the treats up beautifully to present to both Max and the mailman, there was a sense of pride in what they were doing. A heartfelt gesture that celebrated friendship in all its forms. From that moment forward, every time they saw Max sitting by the door in eager anticipation, they smiled knowingly. It wasn't just an ordinary wait. It was a routine filled with love and joy that strengthened their family bond as well. They realized that these connections, whether between humans or animals, are what truly enrich life. Through this journey from mystery to understanding, the Johnsons embraced not only who Max was, but also how he brought them together in unexpected ways. Their home was now filled with laughter over dog treat experiments and stories about friendships blossoming in simple daily encounters, reminding them all how precious those moments could be. As the Johnson family reflected on their journey, they realized how a simple mystery about Max's behavior led them to profound discoveries that strengthened their bonds. What began as a curious habit of their golden retriever sitting by the door each morning had transformed into a heartwarming tale of friendship and loyalty. It was remarkable how something so seemingly trivial could uncover layers of connection not only between Max and the mailman, but also within their own family. In a fast-paced world where life can often feel overwhelming, the family learned that taking the time to understand the little things, like why Max eagerly awaited his friend, could lead to moments of joy and laughter. They had spent countless evenings sharing theories and laughter, all stemming from a simple question. Why does Max sit by the door? That inquiry blossomed into an adventure filled with unexpected warmth, reminding them that even everyday routines could harbor hidden gems of happiness. The joy that Max brought into their lives was not just in his playful antics, but in the way he connected them all. Each morning's ritual became a celebration of friendship, not just between a dog and his mailman, but among family members who gathered to witness this delightful bond. They often found themselves smiling at how this newfound understanding enriched their home, filling it with laughter, love, and a shared appreciation for life's simple pleasures. Baking treats for Max and the mailman was another layer they added to their evolving narrative. It became an exciting family project that involved teamwork, creativity, and lots of silliness in the kitchen. The process of creating those special dog biscuits turned into cherished memories that would last a lifetime, showcasing how togetherness could grow from the simplest ideas. Jamie and Lily delighted in learning new recipes while reflecting on their dog's endearing friendship. Moreover, This experience taught them the value of observation and patience. Sometimes, the answers they seek in life are right in front of them, waiting to be uncovered with a little curiosity and love. The Johnsons learned to slow down and appreciate the small moments, cherishing the joy that comes from noticing how connections, no matter how small, can make significant impacts on their lives. As seasons changed and summer transitioned into fall, Max continued his daily vigil by the door, eagerly anticipating his friend's arrival. But now, every time the blue mail truck rolled down their street, it brought not just excitement for Max, but also joy for Jamie, Lily, and their parents. They no longer viewed it as just another part of their routine. It had become a heartfelt moment they all looked forward to. A reminder of the beauty in friendships that can form unexpectedly. In reflecting upon this journey from mystery to understanding, the Johnson family recognized that sometimes life's most profound connections arise from the simplest mysteries. They were grateful for Max's loyalty and love, which had illuminated their lives in ways they never expected. With laughter still echoing in their home, they embraced each day as an opportunity for connection, whether through shared moments with Max or new friendships forged along life's journey. Ultimately, they understood that love can flourish anywhere, even in the little things, proving that sometimes the smallest joys lead to the most heartwarming discoveries.